Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to jump right into a book that's, well, it's barely a month old, but it's already making huge waves, like everywhere.
Yeah, it really is.
We're talking about Karin Slaughter's brand new thriller, We Are All Guilty Here. It dropped August 12th, 2025. And it's not just new, it's become this instant sensation. #1 on the New York Times list, topping charts in like tons of countries.
Yeah, the UK, Germany, Australia,
Yeah.
pretty much hitting #1 across the board. It's impressive.
Totally. So our mission today is basically to unpack what's making this book such a massive hit. It's also the first in a totally new series, the Northfall series.
Right. We've got some interesting angles to look at it from.
We do. We've looked at the official stuff, the synopsis, those glowing pro reviews from her website.
Standard procedure.
But we're also bringing in this really fascinating kind of in-depth reaction from a book reviewer, Peter, from Peter Likes Books on YouTube.
Ah, okay. I've seen some of his stuff.
Yeah, and his perspective is, well, it's specific and honestly pretty surprising. It kind of challenges the whole idea of what makes a thriller, well, thrilling.
Interesting. So, official success versus a more nuanced reader take.
Exactly. So if you're someone who likes to get the gist of these big cultural moments quickly, understand different takes, and figure out what really clicks with readers.
Then this is probably for you.
Precisely. We're exploring what happens when a huge thriller author puts out a book where, at least for one reader, the actual mystery wasn't the main event.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Let's dive in. So, the official story, what's the setup?
Okay, so officially, We Are All Guilty Here is pitched as the first mystery in this new Northfall series.
Right. Set in North Falls. You know, the classic small town where supposedly everyone knows everyone else's business.
Or thinks they do. And the hook is, it's fireworks night and two teenage girls just vanish.
Poof, classic setup. Immediately raises the stakes, gets that small town paranoia going. That always works.
Definitely. And the main character, Officer Emmy Clifton, she's got this personal connection. Deeply personal.
Okay. How so?
The synopsis says she turned away when her best friend's daughter needed help, just before she vanished. So now Emmy feels this immense guilt, this need to bring her home.
Right. So high personal stakes for the detective. Another key ingredient.
Yeah. But as she digs in, she starts realizing she, never really knew these girls at all. Maybe nobody did.
Secrets upon secrets?
Exactly. The big questions are, every teenage girl has secrets, but who would kill for them? And what else is the town hiding? You know, really leaning into that darkness beneath the surface.
It's a solid blueprint. You can see why that premise alone would grab people, especially fans of her work or the genre. Small town, missing kids, cop with a past. It ticks all the boxes.
And it clearly worked. I mean, the reception was just phenomenal right out of the gate.
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, #1 New York Times bestseller, #1 in the US, UK, Netherlands, Germany, Belgium, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa.
Good grief, the list just goes on. #2 in Canada. Plus, a Library Reads Hall of Fame pick, Amazon Best of the Month.
It's huge, the kind of launch most authors dream of.
And the pro reviews just piled on the praise. Library Journal said, this intense novel starts big and never lets up.
Urkus Reviews called it heartrending and said it richly earns its title, which is quite evocative.
It is. And Book Reporter went even further, calling it one of the finest books that Slaughter has ever written.
Wow, that's high praise indeed considering her backlist.
Right. And authors like Kara Hunter calling it explosive from the very start. Janice Hallett saying it's a stunning new series with a dark, shocking, and visceral story. It elevates it to epic status, she said.
So, okay. The picture being painted here is classic Karin Slaughter, maybe even better. Intense, gripping, shocking, everything her fans expect, hitting all the right notes, commercial and critical dynamite.
Exactly. It seems like a slam dunk, a perfect thriller.
Which makes Peter's perspective even more interesting. How does his individual experience fit into this roar of unanimous acclaim?
Right. This is where it gets really fascinating. So Peter, from Peter Likes Books. This was, believe it or not, his first Karin Slaughter book he'd ever actually finished.
Really? For someone reviewing books, that's surprising. She's huge.
I know. He said he owned several, even had them on Audible, but he kept putting them off because, well, they're long, like 16 hours long on audio sometimes.
Okay, that's fair. That's a commitment.
Yeah. So he goes into this one knowing her reputation for mystery thrillers. His expectation was pretty simple. A small town, murder mystery, kidnapping kind of thing.
Standard thriller fare.
Pretty much. He even admitted he hadn't read the full synopsis properly before starting.
Okay, so fairly blank slate, just genre expectations.
Exactly. And here's the kicker. He gave the book 5 stars, a top rating.
All right, so far, so good. Sounds like he loved it, just like everyone else.
Yes. But his explanation for why it got 5 stars is where things get complicated and really interesting for understanding the book's appeal.
Ah, okay. There's the twist. So it wasn't a straightforward, loved the thriller 5 stars.
Not exactly. It raises this great question, How can a book get universal praise as a top-tier thriller, but an individual reader gives it top marks while having issues with the thriller aspects?
Right. What did he find lacking? Or what else compensated for it? We need to understand the structure first, maybe. You mentioned it was in 2 halves.
Yeah, that's key. The book is literally divided. 2 distinct halves, about 10 chapters each.
Okay.
The first half focuses entirely on that initial setup. The disappearance of the 2 girls, Madison and Cheyenne, they're like 15, 16, described as wild, maybe plan to run away.
And Emmy, the officer, and her dad, who's the sheriff, they investigate.
Exactly. They investigate. But the case goes cold, unsolved. That's the end of part 1, more or less.
Okay. Leaves you hanging.
Totally. Then the second half jumps forward. Years later, there's a whole new crisis involving Emmy and her father, something that gets national attention.
Ah, so the past comes back.
In a way. Because this new crisis brings Emmy's estranged sister Jude back to town, and Jude's this whole other story.
Okay. Tell me about Jude.
She's introduced as like an FBI or maybe CIA agent. She left town years ago as a wild child, changed her name, and get this, she wrote a book on profiling kidnapping cases.
Whoa. Okay, that adds a whole new dynamic. The expert returning home.
Right. And then another girl goes missing in North Falls, a case that feels eerily similar to the original one with Madison and Cheyenne, which obviously reopens everything.
Okay, so the structure uses a time jump and brings in a new perspective, Jude's, to re-examine the past through a new lens, while also dealing with a present threat. That makes sense structurally for a thriller.
It does. But Peter's reaction suggests this structure did something else, too. It shifted the focus, for him at least.
How so? What did he identify as the real strength, if not just the escalating mystery?
Okay, here's Peter's core insight, and it's pretty blunt. He said for him, the murder mystery part or the investigation was not that fantastically done.
Oof. Okay, direct.
Yeah. He found it not woven that tight, even very confusing in parts. He actually called the mystery element subpar.
Subpar. Compared to...
to other murder mysteries he's read, even including some cozy mysteries, the less gritty ones.
Right. Which is a strong critique for an author famed for complex, dark plots.
It is. He even said that when the culprit or culprits were revealed at the end, he barely remembered some of them being significant characters earlier on. He felt kind of lost in the who's who of the mystery plot.
Wow. Okay, so if the central mystery, the thing everyone thinks is the engine, felt subpar to him, why the 5 stars? That's the million-dollar question.
Exactly. His 5 stars came purely from, in his words, the deep characterization of the characters.
Ah, the people.
Yes. Specifically, the family dynamics, the relationship between the 2 sisters, Emmy and Jude, and all the revelations that you find out about the family and family secrets.
So the interpersonal drama, the family saga aspect, trumped the whodunit for him.
Completely. He stated it flat out. If it wasn't because of that, I would have given this book a 4-star 100%.
Yeah.
I was that invested in the characters.
That's fascinating.
Isn't it? He even said something like, if you can write good characters, to be honest with you, I don't really care what the story is.
That is a bold statement for a thriller review. It suggests the book is working on a different level for him, almost like literary fiction focusing on character and relationships, just wrapped in a thriller package.
Precisely. He found the people thrilling, even if the plot mechanics of the mystery didn't fully land for him.
And, connecting this back, that booklist review snippet you mentioned, praising instinct-driven Emmy Lou and her messy, fascinating family, maybe that hints others picked up on this strengths too, even if they also praise the thriller elements more conventionally.
That's a great point. It suggests Slaughter's real magic here maybe isn't just the plot twists, but crafting these incredibly complex, flawed, relatable human beings caught up in the drama.
It forces you to think about what thriller even means. Is it just the puzzle, the suspense? Or can the thrill come from unpacking deep psychological and familial knots? For Peter, it seems like the latter.
Yeah. And he had other critiques, too. Beyond the mystery plot itself, he talked about pacing.
Okay, what was his take there? Thrillers usually need tight pacing.
He found it inconsistent. He described the start as slow, said it was like 8 chapters of just kind of like, okay, I dedicated myself to reading this book.
Ouch. Not exactly explosive from the start for him, then.
Nope. He felt it picked up a lot in the second half, especially when Jude arrived. That seemed to inject new energy.
Makes sense, new character, new dynamic.
But then he said it got kind of boring again for a stretch before the last 4 chapters were phenomenal. So it wasn't a smooth ramp-up of tension for him, more like peaks and valleys.
Okay, so pacing issues on top of the mystery critique. What about the writing style itself?
He wasn't overly impressed there either. He felt the descriptions of the small town were completely missing. Like, he didn't get a strong sense of place from the writing.
Interesting. For a small-town mystery, atmosphere is often key.
Right. And he just didn't find the prose itself extraordinary. He sounded almost surprised that for such a hugely popular author, the writing didn't grab him more stylistically.
So let's recap Peter's view. 5 stars overall, driven almost entirely by character depth and family dynamics, despite finding the core mystery plot confusing and subpar, the pacing inconsistent, and the writing style unremarkable.
That's the paradox of it. It's such a specific, nuanced reaction against a backdrop of universal, amazing thriller praise.
It really highlights how subjective reading is. But the crucial question then becomes, would he continue with the series, given these critiques?
Yes, and that's perhaps the most telling part. Despite all that, he would read the next book in the Northfall series.
Why? What's the hook for him going forward?
The Sisters. He believes the dynamic between Emmy and Jude will play out in further books down the road, and he anticipates them potentially solving crimes together. He's invested in their ongoing story and relationship.
So the character engine is powerful enough to overcome his issues with the plot engine, essentially. He's hooked on the family, not necessarily the case of the week.
It seems so. It suggests the series' longevity, for readers like Peter anyway, might hinge more on that relational core than on just delivering a technically perfect mystery each time.
Which is a fascinating takeaway. It implies this book, despite being marketed and received largely as a top-tier thriller, might actually be succeeding for a significant portion of its audience because it's also a powerful family drama.
Exactly. It offers this counterpoint. Maybe the thrilling part isn't uniform for everyone.
So wrapping this up, what have we learned today?
Well, we've really dug into Karin Slaughter's We Are All Guilty Here. It's clearly a monster hit, critically and commercially, right off the bat.
No question about that, a powerhouse launch.
But we've also seen, through Peter's lens, how a reader can connect deeply with a book for reasons that might seem secondary to its main genre label. He loved it for the character work, the family secrets, the sister dynamic.
Even while finding the actual mystery, the element most reviews trumpet, somewhat lacking.
Right. It just underscores how personal the reading experience is and maybe how flexible the thriller label can be. What thrills one person isn't necessarily what thrills another.
Absolutely. So for you listening, if you're thinking about picking up We're All Guilty Here, or maybe starting this Northfall series,
it might be worth asking yourself what you prioritize. Are you looking for that perfectly intricate clockwork mystery plot with shocking twists?
or are you drawn more to deep dives into messy, complicated characters and the intense drama of family relationships?
Because it sounds like this book offers both, but different readers might latch on to different aspects. Peter's take suggests that Slaughter's skill in creating these truly talented, author-worthy characters, as he put it, might be a huge part of its broad appeal, maybe the secret sauce.
It could be hitting different sweet spots for different readers simultaneously.
Which leads us to a final thought to leave you with. In this world absolutely flooded with stories and narratives, what is it that makes a story truly stick with you?
Is it always the cleverness of the plot? The gasp-out-loud twists?
Or is it sometimes those unforgettable characters, the ones whose struggles and relationships feel real and resonate long after you finish the book?
And when a book gets such widespread, almost universal acclaim like this one, is it possible that we're all actually reading slightly different books? That different people are falling in love with entirely different facets of the exact same story?
Something to think about. We'll leave you with that.